So I recently watched the trailer for the new Wuthering Heights movie, the one with Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, right? And I think it's really interesting, the discussion forming around this movie. Largely, it's very negative, right? For full disclosure here, I've never read the original book, right? I'm not familiar with this source material, right? But I do find it negative, or I do find it interesting how negative it is, because, well, honestly, as much as, this movie could be terrible, right? I have no idea. I haven't seen it, honestly. 60% chance I don't even go see it, right? I don't have that much of an interest in it. I find the discussion around it quite interesting, though, right? Because this movie, well, it might not look like it's going to be an Oscar winner. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to be, like, anything crazy. It looks like something that should work, right? It's two big stars, and it's a famous romance story in, I don't know, like England or something. I feel like that's where all the romance stories take place, right? So let's say England, and there's a soundtrack by Charlie XCX, a movie in old England with two big stars that has a kind of modern synthy, hyper-pop, almost adjacent soundtrack. That sounds fun. That sounds like something that a lot of people would normally, under any other circumstance, look at and go, oh, this is going to be a good time, right? But I don't discuss this movie because I have a ton of passion about Wuthering Heights, right? Like I said, probably won't even see this movie unless my friends want to. I'll go with them if they do, and I'll report back to you all. But I think it's interesting because it says so much to me about the binary between good and bad nowadays, right? I think because of everything existing in the same place, right? Everything's on the internet now. I think we've lost the ability to understand audience, right? Who is this for? And also, is it possible that it's not for me, right? I think that's the biggest part of all this, right? So let me kind of I'll use a different example here to kind of get into the conversation a little bit, right? I think this often happens during like jokes. Because of the fact that when you put a joke on the internet, the implicit understanding is that anybody could ever see this, the joke now has to be for everybody, right? Whereas it's a very normal notion if you guys, I'm sure all of you have understood this and have friends who kind of, maybe you operate this way, right? It's a very normal thing to be like, oh, well, this group of friends are cool with these jokes, and we make crazier jokes around them, and then I have a different sense of humor with that group of friends, and then I go to this other group of friends and we really joke around, we talk about other things, right? That's a very normal thing, right? And you understand that you can go to group A and crack a dirty joke or whatever, and that's going to be normal, but you also know you're not going to be a weirdo and go into a party where there's a bunch of people you don't know and say something crazy. Like, you're just going to be a normal person. Being normal in this regard is something that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, I feel like it's weird to even be describing this in a sense, because this is just how social, being a social person goes, right? Different groups, different jokes, all these things, right? Different topics of conversation. Nowadays, though, there's a lot of discussion around, like, what can you say? What can you not say? What is the line? And I think that is largely because we've lost that ability to go, well, I don't need to post this joke. I can just say it to my friend who I know is going to think this is funny, and we can both have a good laugh and go on with our days, right? Because that's not really a thing anymore, and everybody's posting all these, and quite frankly, I think a lot of the people on Twitter don't really have anybody in real life they can go to. If I'm to, be a little rude here, we no longer have this ability to be like, this is for somebody. Now it has to be for everybody. And I think I think it's diluted a lot, right? I'm not just talking about jokes or how we talk to people. I think just in general, I think this is a pretty bad thing because of art is the main place in which I think this is harmful, right? I don't really care about being able to tell jokes with your friends because, well, whether people on the internet understand it or not, you can totally still go tell jokes to your friends, right? That's never been under threat. However, something we have a lot less control over is the art that gets publicized to all of us, what studios decide to make, what's going to be in theaters, right? And because everything is for everybody, the idea of there's this very common idea, I'm sure you're all familiar with, of a cult classic. That's kind of gone now, right? I mean, there's not really The last movie I that's come out that I'm like, that's kind of a cult classic at this point is Trap. The one where the guy is he's a serial killer and he's stuck in the concert venue. Like that's I feel like that's kind of taken on a cult classic like status. But even that, I mean, you know, I wouldn't say it was trying to be a cult classic, right? It used to be an idea of like, I can make anything and somebody will like it. It'll be for somebody, right? Maybe it'll just straight to DVD thing that catches on years later. But, you know, I can make something here. I can just make what I want. Nowadays, that's not really an option because it has to be for everybody, and because of this, things no longer exist in a, you know, when was the last time you saw somebody online go, well, I watched this movie, and it wasn't for me, clearly, but, you know, I could see somebody else enjoying it. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. It's either this was good, this was bad, right? That, like, everything is in those two binaries now. It's either an Oscar winner and a masterpiece, or it is just bad. It's a bad thing, or it's like a mid thing at best. You know, I don't even know what that is anymore. There's good, there's bad, and there's mid, and mid usually just means bad too. Like, I'm not seeing people use mid in a context of like, well, I thought the movie had good moments and bad moments. I'm usually seeing people use mid in the context of, you know, I hate this thing and I'm gonna disparage it, you know? So, because of this, I think that a movie like Wuthering Heights, right? This is why I think this movie is very interesting, because I think it's a good encapsulation of this conversation. This is for somebody, right? I mean, maybe not intentionally by whoever's making the movie, but there's definitely an audience for this kind of thing, right? An old romance with two big stars set in old England to hyperpop. That sounds fun. That sounds a little campy maybe. It sounds a little corny. It's interesting, right? Maybe it's going to be a bad movie. Who knows? You know, again, there are such things as just movies that don't hit. But this is very easily something that's for somebody that doesn't really exist anymore. And I think this is what I think something's really lost in this. And the reason I want to talk about this is not just because, you know, I'm here to complain, even though that's a very fun thing to do. It's also because I know a lot of you are artists, right? And I think that it's something we as artists should be encouraging, is to make something that's just, you know, maybe just for you, but for somebody at all, right? I think that's something we should be encouraging. I think about this with the movie Mean Girls a lot, right? I'm a pretty big fan of the movie Mean Girls. That might come as a surprise to many of you, but I do like that movie quite a bit, right? And recently I watched the 2024 remake of Mean Girls with Renee Rapp, right? Is it Renee or Rennie? I had a friend call her Rennie Rapp the other day when I was talking about her, and I was like, I don't think that's right. That sounds like that doesn't sound like, that sounds like it should be like an MC from the Bronx in the 80s. Like, this doesn't sound like it's like a modern pop star name, but maybe it's Rennie Rapp, I don't know. I've never listened to any of her music, to be honest. But I was watching the remake and I was like, you know, one, I gotta say, in the spirit of talking about bad movies, I'm not a big musical guy to begin with, but I was like, how'd they do this to Mean Girls? Like, I love the original, it's so good. And distinctly, it's something that I don't think could exist nowadays, because it's not, Mean Girls isn't a good movie. It's campy, it's a little corny, it's very like, it's something that could totally be on Disney XD and you wouldn't bat an eye, but it's awesome. It's for somebody, and it's, you know, maybe, I mean, I don't know if it's meant to be for me, but I love it, right? It's an awesome movie because it is campy, it is corny. Much of, I don't know if you guys know Kevin Smith movies, they're a little less famous than Mean Girls for sure, but you know, he has a very similar thing going where I would never look at a Kevin Smith movie and be like, this is an amazing, fantastic film. But, you know, for people that like these, yeah, that's awesome. Like, these are great things, right? And could that exist nowadays? Is there such a thing as a movie that's gonna go to theaters, not something that's on YouTube or on the internet that's super niche, that's gonna go out there for everybody to see, that's really geared towards being, you know, kind of a cult classic thing, kind of a fun thing? And that's what Mean Girls is, right? Mean Girls is made for a specific type of person. Like, it's a very campy, corny movie for a subset of people to enjoy. It's not for everybody. It's not anything that's gonna win an Oscar, right? But people that love that movie. And oftentimes, you know, this is a huge statement to make, and I don't know if I'd 100% defend this if I were to think about it a little bit more. I do feel like culture comes from not so much what wins the Oscar, but from what becomes a cult classic. Right? So often, it's not really about like, oh, this is the best movie that came out last year, as much as it's about people going, this is just something I really like. Like, there's so many more references from Mean Girls that are in, like, the public consciousness, I think, than there are from, I don't know, what won an Oscar, like, 2 years ago. Parasite, I think, won the Oscar in 2019, the Korean film. Amazing movie, one of my favorite movies ever. Way less of a cultural splash than Mean Girls. And I know people are going to be like, that's an insane statement, and it is. But it's true, right? And oftentimes, this is how culture happens. It's not the best movie that makes culture. It's the movie that's the most fun. It's the movie that makes people want to talk about it and see it and, you know, joke about it and all these things, right? And if we lose the ability to have something that's just either fun or sad or geared towards a specific audience that nobody else is going to enjoy, I think we just lose out on a ton of great stuff, right? The comedian Stavros Halkias had an interesting movie come out 2 years ago. I don't know. I've never seen the movie, to be honest. I want to see it. It sounds pretty good. I'll definitely get around to watching it one of these days. He had a movie called Let's Start a Cult. And I remember seeing clips of him talking about it. And I thought it was very interesting how he was talking about it. Because he was like, there's no message. There's no moral. This is a movie for you to, like, watch and think about nothing while you watch it. And I think that's awesome because we're missing so much of that. I don't think we have a lot of areas where we get movies that we can just watch, not think about too much, and keep it walking, right? Or they're just fun, you know? And this is so much of, again, what creates culture. So this is why I say, in this age where we're exposed to everything all the time, and everything needs to be the perfect thing for people to enjoy it and like it, stop trying to make good art. Stop trying to make art that is perfect or gonna be a crowd pleaser. And start trying to make art that you want to make, that's a crowd pleaser to you, that you find interesting, that you've always wanted to see. Maybe it will be great. Maybe it will be something that could win an Oscar and be, you know, the next big thing. Maybe it'll be the next Star Wars. Maybe it's just going to be a fun thing, though, that people like, and I think that's just as important. You know, we need both these things, and we're severely missing the second one now. Because everyone's trying to make the first one, and when you don't make the first one, like when you try and make the best movie, and you don't succeed, when it's like not as good as people think it will be, it doesn't really get any status other than a flop, usually, right? So I think it's interesting to make things that are fun, or campy, or corny, or sad, or meant to be dark, you know, all these different vibes that I feel like they're missing. This is the painting. Best pepper yet, in my opinion. I gotta be honest. This one really looks like the Chili's logo, and that's what we need here. So, yeah. Go check us out over on the TikTok and the Instagram. If you want to support the show, you can always do that on Substack, link in the description below. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This has been Paint Talk episode 320. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.